What's up, y'all? This is Coach here, Fun Day, back on another one. Out here enjoying a wonderful day that I'm blessed to live life. And I give all that to credit to my ancestors. I thank them, I honor them, I trust them, I love them every day, And also I'd like to thank you, the subscriber, for subscribing to this. Now, as you see, we're looking at African history. And the title of this is The First Inhabitants of America Were Black, which, there's been a kind of controversy going on about this. So let's kick it to ballistic. This is from African history. And the first paragraph I got comes in that black people ignored that their ancestors who adjusted to the material conditions of the Nile Valley are the oldest guides of humankind on the way to civilization. Sheikh Anta Diop. Below is a reconstruction of the oldest inhabitant in the Americas. The Westerners named her Louisa. This female and Africoid skeleton was found in Lapa Valhalla in the southeastern Brazil, not far from the Atlantic coast. The bones date back 12,000 years. This makes it one of the oldest ones in the Americas. The swift evidence of a human presence in America is proved by the engravings of the Pedra Fundra site. Now, we're going to look up more on this site, the Pedra Fundra site. But, right now, we're just going to keep the ballistics. In northeastern Brazil, human presence on this site dates from 15,000 to 65,000 years. The Pedra Fundra site is located near the eastern tip of Brazil and is so clearly oriented towards Africa. So far, Western scientists have been arguing that the first inhabitants had not come from Australia or Asia, not from Africa. Anyways, the inhabitants of Pedra Fundra could be only black because the white race and other races appeared only 20,000 years ago from the adaptation of the black human to the icy European climate. America was initially populated when there was only blacks on the planet. The man of Pedra Fundra could hardly be blacks from Asia, Russia, because of the time of glaciation of the northern hemisphere from 2100 to 10,000 called Wisconsin in America. Made any movement of this magnitude almost impossible. That's fact. That's backed up by everything. So they didn't come from the Straits, or the Bering Straits. And it's less that they were black from Australia because the journey between Australia and America is 6 times longer than the one between Africa and America. If the first Americans had came from Australia or Asia, one would expect that their traces would be found in the Pacific coast and in the north of America and not on the south coast of the Atlantic, whereas in this case. The simplest logic is the first Americans left West Africa to arrive in Brazil thanks to sea currents. This conclusion is the only reasonable one in the present state of knowledge. Shows you another one they did, another black guy, It should also be added that most of the first skulls found were the pygmy type, identified by their small size. The tall blacks, I hint this is very important, the tall blacks that the European explorers saw in America were a result of a new wave of migration from Africa that came from the imperial state of Mali and Songhai empires after the Egyptian Sudanese ancestors 2,000 years before. Those very first Americans would have been mixed with the Asians who had come down from 3,000 BC in greater numbers, and the American Indians are a product of intermingling of the two. Even though, this is very important too, even though the historian David Imhotep tells us that the Asian type was demographically predominant. And they give a site. These are the sites for that. You know what I'm saying? And where she cite that at number 8, the first Americans. David Imhotep, page 8. So just in case anybody want to dispute that, you can look it up yourself. And David Imhotep said once again that even though the historian David Imhotep tell us that the Asian type was demographically predominant. So there you have it. Anyway, Coach, get Fun Day, much love. Subscribe to the channel.